This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Kiss my ass, kiss his ass, kiss your ass. Happy Hanukkah. Welcome to the Fa La La Faves of Our Lives. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Brittany.
Today we're talking about everyone's favorite Christmas movie, Christmas Vacation.
Yes, I'm very excited to talk about this movie. This is one that I watch every year.
I'm pretty sure I've seen this at least 100 times.
Yeah. So Christmas Vacation premiered December 1st, 1989. It was directed by Jeremiah Cheshik. The cast is Chevy Chase as Clark Griswold, Beverly D'Angelo as Ellen, Juliette Lewis as Audrey, Johnny Galecki as Rusty, Randy Quaid as Cousin Eddie, and I have to include Doris Roberts as Frances because I love Doris Roberts.
Yeah.
The plot of the movie is the Griswold family's plans for a big family Christmas predictably turn into a big disaster. And that is an understatement.
Yeah.
What I love about this movie is it was one of the first of its kind where it showed a completely dysfunctional family. And it's over the top and exaggerated the things that happen, but it's so relatable.
Yeah, I have that in my notes. Relatable.
It's like they just want everything to be perfect and nothing goes the way that it was planned.
Yep. Just like every family get-together ever.
Yep. The movie opens with the Griswolds in the car singing Christmas carols. Thank God my parents didn't sing this way.
You don't like singing Christmas carols?
Oh, I love singing Christmas carols, but that was a little like church choir-y or operatic, however you want to put it. We find out that Clark is planning to take the family to the forest, really.
Not even a cut your own Christmas tree,
Right.
please. Just a straight up pine forest.
They're going to cut down their own Christmas tree. On the way there is a truck tailgating them, and it pisses Clark off, rightfully so. I gotta tell you, his reaction is a little worse than mine would be, but not by much.
Throughout the vacation episodes, like, Clark is the worst driver ever.
I know. The part where he says, "Look, kid's a deer," and flips them off, that's totally a move I'm stealing.
I love that.
So there's this whole back and forth with this truck. At first they're tailgating him, then they get in front of him and slam on the brakes. It's turning into a real altercation, and it has Clark so distracted that he ends up going under a log truck. And this movie always, like, anytime I see one of those trucks, I honestly think I could fit my Civic under it. It's like, I'm stuck in this lane, I'm just gonna get under this truck.
Yeah, it's like Fast and the Furious. They do that too.
And it's very unrealistic, but it makes you think that you could do it.
Mm-hmm.
He does get out from under the truck without killing the entire family, but...
Barely.
Yeah, he wrecks, like, right into the Christmas tree lot. They walk out into the forest. Audrey is freezing to death.
Yeah.
That, too, is relatable. That is how I am all winter long. She's like, I can't feel my hips.
And the snow is, like, up to their waist.
Yeah. They find this tree that, I mean, the heavens are shining their lights down on this tree. It is gigantic. I understand being a little bit off on the tree on whether it's going to fit in your house, but half of that tree ends up fitting in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they got it home.
Rusty's like, that tree wouldn't even fit in our backyard. And Clark's like, it's not going in our backyard.
Yeah.
It's going in the house.
But they do get the tree, they get it home, but we do see Audrey with, like, snot sickles, pretty much. She looks like hell.
And Ellen's like, she'll see it when we get home.
Yeah.
She's frozen right now. Her eyes are frozen shut.
Yeah.
Actually, they're frozen open, but...
They get the tree home, and it's in the house, Well, before they get it in the house, Clark has to trim it outside of the house. This is where one of my favorite lines is. The neighbors come out and they're making fun of him. The guy says something like, Griswold, where do you think you're going to put that thing? And he says, bend over and I'll show you. That was almost my Christmas card last year with my son.
Yeah, that part is really funny, but watching it this time, I'm sure I've noticed this before, but I didn't really think about it, but Todd says, you shouldn't talk to me that way, or whatever, and he's like, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to her.
Yeah. Yes, and the female neighbor is Julia Louis-Dreyfus from Seinfeld.
Yeah, I love her.
So, really, all he does is cut the top off of the tree and put it in the house. It reminds me of the Office episode. Do you remember that Christmas episode?
No. I mean, I'm sure I've seen it, but I'm not thinking of it right now.
They get a tree that doesn't fit, and when they're putting it up, I think it's Pam says, that's not gonna fit. And Michael says, A, that's what she said, and B, it's Christmas. They just cut the top off of the tree, and that they have a miniature tree and the one that has the top cut off of it. That's what this reminds me of.
I feel like in another universe, Clark Griswold and Michael Scott would be besties.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, like, he forgets to bring a saw to cut the tree down, so they have to literally uproot it, which is so unrealistic. If you've ever tried to do that, like, the ground is frozen.
Right. Well, and then, like, I know that some living trees you do get, and they have some roots to them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But this is a gigantic tree. It has been there for years. You know that the roots of that tree are set. Mm-hmm. So, regardless of frozen ground or anything, you know, my dog died in the summer 2 years ago, and we tried to bury him under a tree, and we were successful, but there were roots there, and it was so hard to cut through those roots.
Yeah.
I love the part, though, he gets the tree in the house, but it still has the rope around it, and when he cuts the rope, it, like, flings everybody back and breaks the windows.
And the neighbors' windows.
Yes, and he's doing all of this because his family is coming in to town, and he's wanting it to be perfect for his mom and his dad, and that's admirable. Mm-hmm.
But is this, like, before Thanksgiving, and this family comes and stays that whole time, or they just have a turkey dinner, and it's not Thanksgiving? Because that part always confused me.
Yeah, it's not Thanksgiving, they're just having a turkey dinner, and I'm assuming it's just because the whole family's already there.
Okay.
I know that it's at least December because they used the Advent calendar as, like, the timeline throughout the movie. We see Clark and Ellen in bed. I love this scene, too, because Clark has sap all over his hands from the tree. He's flipping through a magazine so nonchalantly. His hands keep getting the magazine pages stuck to them, and it's like, just give it up already.
I mean, have you ever gotten sap on your hands?
Oh, it's horrible.
It's impossible to get off.
Yes.
You have to have, like, acetone, like, straight acetone to get it off.
Yeah, like kerosene or something like that.
Yeah, you cannot get that off with soap and water.
When he kisses Ellen goodnight, his hand gets stuck in her hair and it gets stuck on the lamp. I mean, from the very beginning, this movie is just a masterpiece.
Yeah, it is.
Ellen tells him when they're in bed that her family also is coming. I don't know. I love my in-laws and I love my family, and they get along great, but how stressful. Like, could you even imagine?
No.
It's just too much.
We don't even have enough, like, floor space to have that many people stay at our house.
And they do have a pretty big house, but even with the big house, like, Audrey has to sleep with Rusty, and the grandma and grandpa are sleeping in bunk beds.
Yeah, and Audrey says, like, how gross it is that she has to sleep with her brother, and Ellen's like, well, I have to sleep with your dad.
Yeah. But I honestly think that Clark takes the news pretty well. I think that he's just really wanting it to be a good Christmas, and he's kind of got the mindset of the more the merrier. And you can tell by the way that they interact that Clark and his in-laws don't really get along that well. Mm-hmm. So everyone arrives, well, not everyone, we find out, because there's surprise guests.
Those are the best kind.
Yes. Everyone who's expected to show up shows up, and you can see a little bit of animosity between the mothers right away. And it's just because they're so different. Clark's mom is very, like, old-time housewife type woman, and I think that's why Clark was wanting to give her this old-fashioned Christmas. Doris Roberts, her role is more of, like, she's got red hair, dyed red hair, and she smokes cigarettes and all of that. Also, she waxes her upper lip.
Oh my gosh.
So Clark decides that he is going to deck his house out in, I can't even remember, like 25,000 twinkling lights, I think was that the number?
Oh, that sounds about right.
Him putting the lights up, I swear to you, that is my dad. He's just like up there on the ladder. He doesn't think, oh, I could fall off of this and die. I mean, the way that he moves the ladder even, it's like, just climb down and move it. But my dad he hasn't stapled himself to things, but he's stapled the people that he's working with to things.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, that actually has happened.
That part is concerning to me, but the part that is more concerning to me is the extension cord situation.
Yes.
Oh my god.
It's really bad. Also, I can tell you from last year, those lights did not stay lit because so many times water would, like, get into the plug and short something. Mm-hmm. And I had it, like, wrapped, and it still, if it got the least bit damp, it would short something, and half of my lights would go out. I'd have to go fix them.
Mm-hmm. We don't do lights. We have one of those, just one of the projectors.
Yeah.
That projects the sparkles on the house. That's about the extent of our outside lights.
Yeah, we do, and we're gonna do it again this year, but I don't know. It seems like every year we try to add something, or at least do something different, so we'll have to see. So Clark is on the ladder, he staples himself to the eave spout, and he falls. The eave spout comes away from the house, and a huge icicle goes into the neighbor's house onto their, like, sound system.
Oh, I thought it was the tree that broke the window for some reason.
Yeah, the icicle goes in and gets onto the sound system, and then they come in and they don't understand, like, something broke the window and all of their stuff is wet, but they'd have no idea how any of it happened because there's nothing there but water.
And she says, "Why is the floor all wet, Todd?"
That name is perfect for that role.
I know. It's such, like, a asshole name, like Richard Dick. I mean, nothing against our friend Richard.
Clark obviously is having a hard time with the lights. He does all of this work, and they just won't come on. I remember the very first time that I watched this movie, I really thought that the reason it didn't come on was because Rusty didn't check all of the lights. Because he's like, you gotta check them all. You gotta check all of the lights. And he's like, yeah, sure, but he never does.
Yeah, and then when they don't come on, he's like, we checked all those lights, right? And he's like,
we did.
Yeah, Dad, we did.
At first, he decides he's gonna let it go. They'll work on it tomorrow. They'll figure it out. They go in. We see the next morning, everyone's going out shopping, but Clark has to go up into the attic for something. And I can't remember what he's going up there for.
He's hiding gifts.
Oh, yeah, because he finds the Mother's Day gift from, like, years ago. Mm-hmm. And someone shuts the attic on him. Mm-hmm. I've never had attics like that. So apparently you can't get out of it from the top?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I could kind of assume because the way that
I would say probably not.
Yeah, the way that the cord pulls down, there's probably like a latch or something. Because the door has to be able to hold the weight of the ladder and everything else.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, was he really stuck up there? So if anybody has any experience with those attics, let us know. So Clark has to sit up there in the freezing cold attic, and the outfit that he chooses is so funny to me. He, like, puts socks on his hands, he's got a mink stole around his shoulders, and it's like a shower cap or something on his head.
Oh, I thought it was like a fortune teller, like, turban type thing.
Maybe. Or maybe it's like what women used to wear to bed. They'd put, like, curlers in their hair and put that over. It kind of looked a little bit like that. Yeah, so he sits up there like that, and he's watching old family movies, and that's where you kind of... this, at least for me, this is where I started to understand why he was so invested in this. Because he has such strong feelings about these traditions, and he's just trying to make this a great Christmas. He also falls through the ceiling and onto the bunk bed. And I like how he takes his hands and he's like warming up his hands from the heat coming out of the house.
Yeah, I've told you I've seen this movie so many times, but I still was laughing out loud when he's like walking around in the attic and stepping on 2x4s and they're hitting him in the face. Yeah. Because they're not nailed down.
Chevy Chase was so good at, like, physical comedy, and
yeah.
I miss movies like this. When they did the remake of Vacation, I actually really liked that movie because, like, yeah, it was modernized, but Ed Helms, he has that type of, like, comedic background with physical comedy, his facial expressions and stuff, and I was really excited about that. And really, when I was talking to Mary today, she was like, I actually wouldn't mind if they did a remake of Christmas Vacation with the same cast and, like, just slightly modernized, because they didn't try to really redo... I mean, it was a remake, but it was a lot different. It wasn't the same thing as the original.
I don't know if they would be able to get away with the same stuff, though, because it's... I don't know. It seems like... I know this movie is older, but it was very, very inappropriate.
Yeah.
I don't know if they could get away with it today.
Yeah, when Clark goes shopping and he's hitting on the lingerie woman.
That scene, I was cracking up at that, too, because he cannot say, like, anything right.
No.
He says, it's hooter in here. Could it be any more hooter in here? I mean, hotter in here. And then she's like, can I take anything out for you? And he just starts laughing hysterically. It's so funny.
Yeah, and, like, I do understand why shows have gone away from that type of comedy, but sometimes I miss it. Like Stifler and American Pie. It's like you're not supposed to look at these characters and try to be like them. You're making fun of them because they're stupid.
Mm-hmm. It's just, that whole scene is so funny because he says hooter, he says nipple, he says something about her blouse, he says that his wife is dead. And then she's showing him her underpants, and he's like, yeah, you can't see the line, you can't see the line. And his kid walks up, and he's like, you can't see the line, can you, Russ? And then he's like, Russ, like, oh shit, I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, that scene is really good. So we see Clark, he's back outside working on the lights. He's getting really frustrated because he's checked all of the lights again. He's checked all of the extension cords, everything. All of the connections are in place. He cannot understand why these lights won't turn on. Ellen is a good wife, and she's trying to help him. So she goes into the garage to look at the connections, and she flips a switch to look at the outlet. All of the lights come on, and it's beautiful, and Clark is so excited, he yells at everybody to come out, but right around that time, Ellen is like, well, I don't see anything wrong, and she flips the switch off. Clark loses it.
It's like, part of me wants to say, like, you honestly don't know that switch activates that plug, but in my parents' old house, like, I swear there was at least one switch that we still had no idea what it did.
It was just a mystery.
Yeah, like, for the entire time we lived there, it's like, nobody knows what the switch goes to. It's just there.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, you would think that you would know it was connected, but maybe not, because the switch did turn on the garage light. And if that wasn't an outlet that was used frequently, you might not know.
Right, that's true.
But when he loses it, he, like, is breaking antlers off of the reindeer. He kicks Santa in the face.
Kicking him. Oh.
He decides to give it one more shot, and right when he goes to plug it in, this is when it clicks for Ellen. She goes back and she flicks the switch. The extension cord sparks and everything. The house lights up, and everyone's real emotional. You know, it's a beautiful house. I love that Clark goes to hug his mom, and Ellen is just, like, there in between them.
Yeah, and when the lights come on the first time and they don't realize why, and it, like, blinds Todd and I don't remember her name, Elaine, and they can't see anything, and then they go off and they're blind again, and then they come back on and they're blind again, and, like, they're just breaking shit in their house, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, Todd falls down the stairs.
And what were they even wearing? Like, aluminum clothing or something?
Yeah, it was like, I guess, 80s sexy wear? I have no idea.
I thought they were, like, jogging or something.
No, when this happens, they're laying in bed, and they have, like, champagne and stuff.
Oh.
I know the outfit you're talking about. Yeah, they were jogging when they did that.
It's like a silver metallic windbreaker or something.
Yeah, but I don't know. It was just great. I love how the neighbors are made out to be the villains, but really the Griswolds are probably the actual villains.
Poor neighbors.
I know. So yeah, even Ellen's mom and dad, they're like, you know, it looks good, except for Ellen's dad says, well, I don't see any of them twinkling, and Clark says, thanks for pointing that out.
I feel like, was that his in-law?
Yes.
That said that?
Yeah.
I feel like that's what in-laws are for.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad would definitely have said something like that to Mary.
Yeah.
So he makes his way down the line, and you come to a character who you've never seen before, and he's like, it looks real nice, Clark, it looks real nice, and he says, thanks, Eddie, you know, and it just clicks for him all of a sudden that his cousin, Eddie, is here, and he wasn't here before. This is by far my favorite character in the movie, and I think he's a lot of people's favorite. So Eddie and his wife and kids have come to visit in an RV. I'm using that term loosely. This is like a rust bucket. It is so bad. They bring their dog too, whose name is Snots. The part where that dog just has that, like, mucus all up its face. It's so gross.
It is gross.
I also like Eddie says something about, you ought to see the set on this dog. It's bigger than any you've ever seen. And Ellen's face is, like, trying to look.
Oh my gosh. That dog is just like, I like dogs, but that dog is just gross.
Yeah.
Just with the snot and stuff. He's not, like, a gross dog.
No.
Like, ugly.
So Eddie tells them he doesn't want to impose. He and his wife can sleep in the RV. It's been a long drive and they need alone time, so the kids can sleep inside. So they go inside. Clark is having a conversation with Eddie while they're drinking eggnog. I love Eddie's dickie.
Yeah.
He's got on, like, this see-through sweater, but he's got a black dickie underneath of it, so you can see exactly where everything is. He's, like, knocking shit over, and I don't know, that whole conversation is just, it's funny.
Yeah, it is.
And Clark is trying to be so nice. He says something along the lines of, you know, can I get you anything? More eggnog? He says something about driving him out into the middle of nowhere and leaving him for dead.
And he's like, no, I'm good.
I'm good. Thanks, Clark. After the interaction between Clark and Eddie, we have more guests showing up. So we have aunts and uncles. The aunt shows up with her cat in a box.
Oh my god. Aunt Bethany is my favorite character.
I love, like, Clark with the box in his hand. Moving it around. Again, the physical comedy is amazing. They sit down to have dinner. And yes, Aunt Bethany, you can tell she's off her rocker. Just completely. I love that Clark takes the hat off of his uncle and his toupee comes off with it. The look on his face.
He's trying to hurry up and put it back on before he notices.
Yes. They sit down to dinner. They're gonna say grace. They have Aunt Bethany say grace, and she ends up saying the Pledge of Allegiance. And I love how serious Cousin Eddie is about it. He, like, stands up, puts his hand over his heart.
And when they tell her that she's gonna say grace, she's like, Grace, she's been dead however many years.
I forgot about that. Yeah, and the turkey does look amazing. Like, I watched this today. It's not even Halloween yet when we are recording this, and I'm so ready for Thanksgiving.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much.
Yes.
We're going to Young's again. We already have our reservation.
That's amazing.
I can't wait.
I don't know what our plans are. It might just be, like, us here this year, but it's either going to be a chicken or a turkey, and last year we did 2 big chickens, and they were really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but when they go to cut into the turkey, it's like there's nothing in it. It's completely dry.
It's like cutting open a basketball.
Yeah, it explodes. There's like dust, literal dust that comes out of it. And I felt so bad for Eddie's wife because, like, if I'm making dinner, even if it's like, well, okay, we'll say I made French toast. If I burn it, I am so pissed. Like, throwing it into the trash can, you just feel like you've ruined everything. And that's just regular dinner. I could not imagine Thanksgiving. One year, my aunt made turkey, and she put it in the oven in a glass pan, and the glass shattered with the turkey in it, and she cried because she was like, now we can't eat it, you know? It's got glass shards in it. You can't feed that to people.
One year, I made pecan pies for Thanksgiving, and I don't even like pecan pie, but I always, whenever my brother would have Thanksgiving at his house, I would have to bring it because I would always make it and everybody liked it, which I just followed the recipe on the Caro syrup bottle, but Chad took them out of the oven and he dropped one on the floor. I mean, I was pissed at the time, but it was actually really funny.
Right. Well, and this may be an unpopular opinion, and maybe we spoke about it before, but I get that the turkey is the main dish, but the turkey is not really the star of the show. The side dishes are by far the best.
We talked about this on, I think on Will and Grace, we talked about this.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, so, like, I was not heartbroken at all that the turkey was ruined. I was like, that's okay. We just don't have to wait all freaking day for it to cook. Just give me the potatoes.
Exactly. Just give me the potatoes, the sweet potatoes, and the stuffing, and I'm good.
Yeah, but I can still see where, like, to her, it was a big deal.
Right.
We were just like, no, we got plenty of food here. We're fine. My family always makes me so nervous, though, because they are the people that insist on deep frying the turkey. And I'm always like, okay, this year's the year it's gonna explode.
Yeah. We did that one year in our garage.
Yeah.
But nothing bad happened. I think it was pretty good. I don't remember. I know it was like a mess, though.
Just like, I love my family, but we are the dysfunctional family that something's going to go wrong. So I don't think we should add to it by adding a pressure cooker.
Yeah, my great aunts, they used to have Thanksgiving at their house all the time. And, like, their oven didn't even work right. They had, like, a piece of wood propping the door shut on the oven. Like, it was ridiculous.
I love it.
Yeah.
And bless this family's hearts. They try to eat that turkey. They're, like, gnawing on bones.
It's like an ASMR video.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, all you can just hear it, just them smacking, like, trying to eat this dry turkey. They're, like, dipping it in their wine and stuff.
And there's, like, plates that are clattering, and I don't know. It's just, it's so funny. The dog ends up choking on a bone because they're feeding it to the dog under the table. Well, it actually ends up, he gets into the trash, but you've at first assumed that they're feeding the dog the turkey, and I'm sure that some of them were.
One time when my mother-in-law was watching Cruise at our house, there was a chicken carcass in the trash. It wound up on the floor, and she didn't know if the dog did it or if Cruz did it, because they both looked guilty.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the cat is out of the box and is chewing on the Christmas lights. The cat gets electrocuted under the chair. Mary hates this part of the movie. She does not think it's funny. I still laugh.
But Also, the Jell-O salad has cat food in it.
Yeah. I keep forgetting those little things. It's so funny. That's why I say this is a masterpiece, because, like, this movie, I feel like, doesn't go 5 seconds without making a joke.
No, it's epic.
Yeah.
It's definitely epic.
I like the cat thing only because, like, I know realistically that stuff does happen, but they exaggerate it just enough that it's funny. Like, when they move the chair, and it's just, like, a black spot with tufts of fur. Like, there's no cat under there. That's not how it works, but I do. I think that part is comical.
And Eddie says, well, if she had 9 lives, she just used them all.
I know. I'm telling you, Cousin Eddie is my Uncle Jamie. He says the most ridiculous things, and everyone just looks at him like, really? They decide that they're going to go sleigh riding. Clark has taken some type of lubricant from work that he's putting on the bottom of the sled. Oh, and speaking of Clark's work, there's this whole, like, I want to say B-plot, but it's not really because it pushes the plot along. That, you know, he's at work and he's getting this big bonus, and he's trying to figure out when he's getting the bonus. He goes into his boss's office, and I'm sure that you noticed, especially with as many times as you've watched this, but the gift that he brings in, every gift on that table is the exact same size, the exact same arrangement. It's just different wrapping paper. So, like, it's all the same gift. Everybody got this guy the same thing. It's no wonder he's cutting their bonuses.
And when he walks in there to, be like, hey, I got you this gift, and try to get some one-on-one time with him, you know? He's on the phone, and he's like, get me so-and-so, and get me someone while I'm waiting for him.
Yeah, he's just trying to...
It's like Karen Walker.
That's true. Back to Will and Grace. But yes, so he uses this lubricant on the sled. This is one of my favorite conversations between he and Eddie, because the whole thing with Eddie's plastic plate in his head, and Clark makes the joke to him, what, do you really think it's gonna make a difference? And Eddie's whole conversation of, gosh. Well, if something happens to this side, we don't have a problem, but on this side, I mean, if it dents, my hair's just never gonna look right again.
Yeah. And he says something about how when Catherine would turn the microwave on, he would forget who he was.
He would,
for half an hour.
He would piss his pants and forget who he was. I just love that, Clark says all of this stuff in front of him all the time, and Eddie's just too dense to get it.
He's kind of a rose.
Yeah, I'm jumping ahead, but at the very end, Clark says something about my cousin who has more heart than he does brains, and he's like, "Oh, thanks, Clark. That means a lot." And it was kind of a compliment.
Kind of. What movie is it where... Oh, it's on Hangover. When he's like, "You're literally too stupid to insult."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Thanks."
So this is the iconic scene where Clark goes down the hill on the sled. I can't remember. I always picture flames on the sled, but I think that it's the sparks when he hits the pavement. Yeah. But for whatever reason, every time I watch this movie, I'm expecting to see flames coming off of the sled as when he starts. Like Back to the Future type thing, I guess. Which doesn't make sense, but... a lot of this movie is exaggerated, so... Yeah, Clark is, almost hitting trees. He goes across a highway. He goes through this little, bathroom porta-potty thing, it looks like, on the ski slopes. He ends up in the Walmart parking lot. The thing that cracks me up is he, goes into, some type of collection bin there in the parking lot. As soon as he hits it, Eddie says, "Bingo," because they're watching him. But as fast as he's going, and as long as this scene goes on, I find it hard to believe they can actually see him.
Right.
He's going down slopes full of trees and everything. They're not seeing him. They get back to the house. This is where you see Clark. he is visualizing his new pool. The first time that he's visualizing it, I feel like it's pretty accurate. Everyone's around the pool. Then you see Cousin Eddie. He's got on like a Speedo with a wife beater tucked into the Speedo. And his beer, he's getting ready to jump off of the diving board. Clark decides that this is just too much of a reality, and so he starts to see a woman in a red bathing suit, and this part always reminds me of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I also realize that there's a whole lot of side boob that happens in this movie that I never noticed before.
Yeah. Okay, I have like a checklist here about this movie, and it says bad language, check. Highly inappropriate, check. Extremely quotable, check. Relatable, check. Offensive, check.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I want to say I loved about this time period, because this movie was like a family movie. A lot of people...
like, I watched this movie when I was young.
Yeah, and like there's cursing and there's sexual references, and it just... I always forget that this woman is basically naked. You can't see her nipple, but you can see pretty much everything else. It just cracks me up, because looking back, like, there's so many movies that I watched with my cousin that's how they were. And, you know, they were advertised as a family movie, and you're watching it, and nobody really batted an eye at it.
Right. The 80s and 90s were a great time to be alive.
Yeah, I agree. Or maybe we were just young and we didn't ever see any of the bad.
I don't know, because, like, I know the bad language, they censored a lot of that out on TV, but I remember watching this movie, like, with my parents when I was younger.
Yeah, I did. I loved this movie.
Like, every year. And me and my brother quote this movie, like, probably half the time we talk to each other. We quote this movie.
Yeah, same. Every time that we do Grandma Joy's Christmas, me and my cousin are back and forth with this movie.
Yeah.
So while he's daydreaming, this is where Ruby, Eddie's daughter, comes in and catches Clark off guard. He's having a conversation with her about Santa Claus and how he knows that Santa Claus is real, and I cannot remember what she's talking about, but she says something about shitting bricks, and he says, "You shouldn't say that," and she said, "Sorry, shitting rocks."
Yeah.
It also makes this movie a little sad, though, because you do feel bad for these kids.
Yeah, you do.
So you see Clark and Eddie at Walmart, and Eddie's talking about how he doesn't have any money, like he sells bait, pretty much. The RV, he did not borrow from a friend. He had to sell his trailer and land and everything, and they live in the RV now. But the whole time he's talking about not having money, he's like throwing all of this dog food into the cart.
Yeah, he's definitely taking advantage of Clark.
Right. And Clark tells him, you know, I want to make sure that your kids have a good Christmas. And I think that Clark is aware that he's being taken advantage of, but he doesn't care at this point. He just wants the kids to be happy. Eddie says, you know, well, this is completely unexpected, but, you know, I will let you do that. And then he pulls out a list out of his breast pocket. And he also tells Clark, also, I want to get you something real nice. And you know that means it's coming out of your pocket, but I still want to do something nice for you. There's also a scene, I don't know exactly where it falls in, but where the moms are working on a gingerbread house and the dads are snoring and they got the parade on TV. That part is very relatable as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I completely forgot before they go to Walmart when Clark is talking to Ellen about he's looking out the window admiring the view, and he says there's also a man in a bathrobe pumping sewage into our storm drain. And I just like Eddie's shitter was full.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. Shitter's full.
This comes back around, but Clark says, you know, all of the gas in that storm drain, I hope nobody lights a match around there. But what's funny is Eddie is smoking a cigar as he's doing it.
This is like all the people that freaking pump gas while they're smoking. I don't
either. So this is where everything starts really falling apart for Clark. He finds out that he's not getting his bonus. He got enrolled in like a jam member. It's like Netflix, but with jams and
Jelly
jellies.
of the Month Club.
And so he's really pissed off about that. His tree catches on fire, because it's really dried out and the dog has been drinking the water from the tree.
Yeah, the dog.
Yeah. So he decides that he's going to go outside and just get a tree from the backyard pretty much, and he's going to bring that in. In doing so, he brings in a squirrel. That is my favorite part of this movie. The fact that there was a squirrel in the tree.
Yeah.
So the dog is chasing the squirrel. The neighbor comes to the door. Elaine comes to the door. Clark opens it and the dog just jumps right on her. The other part that cracks me up about this scene is when he has the chainsaw inside and Ellen's trying to tell him to calm down. He's being crazy or whatever. And he's like, no, I'm completely fine. I'm completely fine. But the little thing on the stairs barely jiggles. And he just starts the chainsaw inside and cuts it off. And he just does it so calmly. It cracks me up. But when he finds out that he's not getting his bonus, he goes off and he's talking about the one thing that he wants more than anything is for his boss to be there. So that's the perfect Christmas present for him. If they could just go and get him and put a big bow on him and bring him directly to the house. Eddie obviously was listening.
Can I tell you the quote? Because I don't know who came up with, well, obviously the writers came up with this, but it is the funniest, burns ever. Just the most craziest things you could say about somebody.
Okay.
I want to look him straight in the eye, and I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is. Hallelujah, holy shit, where's the Tylenol? Who comes up with that?
I don't know, and how did he deliver that? That's impressive.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm reading it off a thing, but he had to memorize that.
So, Eddie brings Clark's boss to the house. Clark just tells him, if you didn't want to give me a bonus, that's fine. But then you have to tell people because, in the 17 years I've worked there, I've always gotten a Christmas bonus, and you come to expect it. You include it into your salary. And he's right. I do agree with that.
And then the government takes half of it.
Yeah, true. But you can't just always do it, and then, boom, surprise, this isn't your bonus that you always get. And he's right, companies are not obligated to give you bonuses, but I do feel like they should be obligated to give you notice that you're not getting a usual bonus.
Right.
This makes his boss feel bad. I do like that he makes the comment, a lot of things look good on paper, but when you see the people that it actually affects, then it doesn't look so good.
Yeah.
So he ends up giving Clark his bonus plus 20%, so Clark makes out pretty good. In fact, so good he passes out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, his boss's wife called in the fucking SWAT team. They're
they go to the neighbors.
And they're swinging off of rope into the windows and everything else. They're telling him to freeze, and Clark's like, can we blink?
And Ellen says, I'm sorry, this is our family's first kidnapping.
Yeah. And there's a lot about this scene that we get to in the random facts, so I'm not going to give too much away, but yeah, it's a great scene. The boss says, calm down, honey, everything's fine. In fact, I'm not pressing any charges. At first, she's like, what do you mean you're not pressing charges? And he said it was just a misunderstanding about me not giving Christmas bonuses at work. And she immediately is like, oh, yeah, you deserve this. So, I love it. You just know he's a cheap ass at home, too.
Yeah, probably.
So, really, that is how the movie wraps up. Everyone is happy, and, he's getting his bonus. Everyone's leaving, and then the uncle lights a cigar next to the sewage that Eddie has pumped into the storm drain. It explodes. It catches the reindeer and Santa on fire, and they go up into the air, and Aunt Bethany starts singing the Star-Spangled Banner. So everyone else does too. Even the cops, they have their hats off, hands on their heart. They sing it, everyone goes inside, and the last line of the movie is Clark just looking and saying, I did it. I'm not sure you did it, Clark. I'm not sure I would call it the perfect Christmas, but...
He tried his
he
heart out,
really
though.
did.
Hi, I'm Eric,
And I'm Aisla.
and together we are the hosts of the Bicurian podcast.
Bicurian is our answer to the polarizing culture we live in.
Tired of feeling under siege and looking for ways to get involved? Then come be a part of a different way of thinking.
Everything from politics to geek culture to current events that polarize us as a society. We explore multiple ways of looking at things. Please check us out at bicurian.com and follow us on your favorite social media platform of choice.
So yeah, are you ready to hear the random facts I got for us?
Yeah.
Alright, these are pretty good. The movie is based on a short story. Like the 1983 original Christmas Vacation is based on a short story, Christmas 59, written by John Hughes for National Lampoon in December 1980. Did you know that this... it's not technically a John Hughes movie, but John Hughes had a hand in it.
I didn't know it was a short story.
Yeah, I just love John Hughes. Like, all of his films. My favorite 80s film of his is probably Some Kind of Wonderful. Have you seen that?
Nope.
I have it on Vudu. You have to watch it.
Okay, I'll watch
It's
it.
Eric Stoltz, Mary Stuart Masterson, and Leah Thompson, and it's so good.
Okay, so there's like a lot of movies, I think, from the 80s that I didn't watch that, like, Chad and his mom will be like, how did you not ever watch this movie? I'm like, sorry.
I would probably be the same way. I loved all of those movies.
But I also wrote in my notes about this movie, like, has anyone not seen this movie?
I don't know. We should ask that question.
Yeah, because I would be really... I mean, I'm sure a lot of people that were born, like, in the aughts. I don't understand why it's called that. But I bet a lot of them haven't seen it, but, like, you better believe my kids, when they're of age, will be watching this.
Right.
And they'll probably be like, Mom, why are you making us watch this old movie?
I hope not. I feel like it's funny enough that, like, as long as you start them young enough, then it's going to be a classic to them.
Yeah.
I can see as an adult watching it, some people would be like, this is kind of dumb. But if you start, like, that's why we like it so much. We watched it as kids, so it's still funny.
Yeah.
Clark grew up in Samantha Stevens' house. If Clark's childhood home featured in those old movies looks familiar, that's because it's the same house featured on Bewitched.
Okay.
That's it, okay.
I haven't watched that, but I've heard of it, so...
You haven't watched Bewitched?
No. I know about the
boy.
nose wiggle.
That's something, at least.
I just haven't, like, sat down and watched it. I've heard of it.
Audrey is miraculously older than Rusty. In both the original Vacation and European Vacation, Rusty is believed to be the older of the two Griswold children, but in Christmas Vacation, Rusty somehow morphs into Audrey's younger brother.
That's strange.
I like these movies for that. They don't follow any kind of... Like, it's always different
Right.
kids and...
So my second favorite vacation is Vegas Vacation.
Yeah, I like that one too. I really like them all, though.
Yeah.
I have all of them on Vudu.
Yeah, my parents had, like, the box set on VHS.
In addition to featuring future stars Johnny Galecki and Juliette Lewis, star Beverly D'Angelo was most impressed with the older actors who came along for the Christmas Vacation ride. I attribute that to Jeremiah and his direction in bringing in E.G. Marshall, Doris Roberts, and Diane Ladd, she noted. That was a really special cast. I agree. It was just flawless, really.
Yeah.
The cast and everything.
Yeah, I agree.
The movie had a $27 million budget.
Jeez.
Yeah, that is particularly high considering that the film had no special effects, a la Ghostbusters, which was made for $30 million.
How much of that was twinkling lights and extension cords?
Right. It says, but it had no trouble making its budget back. The film's final domestic gross, $71,319,526.
Wow.
That's pretty exact.
That reminds me of the thing I was telling you the other day where he was like, you can't even imagine a number high enough.
Yeah.
Because I cannot imagine millions of dollars.
No. Roger Ebert did not love the film. Though it has become a bona fide holiday classic, not everyone was a fan of Christmas Vacation. In his 2-star review of the film, Roger Ebert described the movie as curious in how close it comes to delivering on its material. Sequence after sequence seems to contain all the necessary material to be well on the way toward a payoff, and then somehow doesn't work.
I highly disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think this movie is a 10 out of 10. I think it's flawless. But I also hated The Witch, so what do I know?
Yeah, that's true. Cousin Eddie is Randy Quaid's best-known character. Not surprising. He said, people still come up to me and quote lines from that part. I get a lot of recognition from that role, probably as much, if not more, than any other.
Yeah, I don't find that hard to believe.
Cousin Eddie is based on a real guy. Quaid borrowed many of Cousin Eddie's mannerisms from a guy he knew growing up in Texas, most notably his tendency towards tongue clicking. But Eddie's sweater-dicky combo, that was an idea from Quaid's wife.
That's funny. That was a good idea.
Yeah, that's amazing. You can buy your own Dickie. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation Collectibles is a website dedicated to all things Christmas Vacation. Among the many fun items are Cousin Eddie's wardrobe staples, moose mugs, and punch bowls.
Can you make me a shirt that says, Hallelujah, holy shit, where's the Tylenol?
Yes, I will do that. You just gotta remind me.
Okay.
Eddie's son, Rocky, doesn't speak a word in the film.
Oh.
Aunt Bethany is Betty Boop.
That's funny.
Christmas Vacation marked the final film of Mae Questel, who began her career as the voice of Betty Boop in 1931. She passed away at the age of 89 in January of 1998.
That's sad.
It says, Bethany and Lewis's entrance made the earth move. At the same time the production filmed the arrival of Uncle Lewis and Aunt Bethany at the Griswold home, a minor earthquake struck. The camera shakes slightly as a result of it as Bethany walks through the front door. I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Betty Boop, have you seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yes.
I love that movie.
Ellen Griswold lied to the cops. In the scene where the cops come in and they're gonna arrest Clark, Ellen apologizes to Mrs. Shirley, the wife of Clark's boss, assuring her that this is our family's first kidnapping, when in fact it is their second.
Oh.
At least the second that we know of.
The security guard at...
Yes.
Oh, yes. I forgot about that.
In the first Vacation film, the Griswolds forced Lasky, the security guard at Wally World, played by John Candy, to open the park for them.
That would be more of a hostage situation.
That's true.
Technically. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a police officer. I don't know the technicalities.
Yeah, maybe she didn't mean to lie.
Maybe. But yeah, I forgot about that until you said that.
There were no rehearsals for the actors on Christmas Vacation. Chase's tendency to ad-lib and improvise made such preparation useless.
Oh my gosh.
While the film is called Christmas Vacation, the movie never makes it to Christmas.
That is true.
It ends on Christmas Eve.
That's so funny. But I guess Christmas Vacation is really like the whole time around Christmas when you're off of school.
That's true, yeah.
But that is funny that they don't ever make it to Christmas. Sequel.
Here we go. The scene in which Chevy Chase insults his boss took a lot of planning. Before shooting, Chase had the crew place cue cards all over the set behind the camera so he could read the long-winded insult without stopping.
Well, that makes sense because that is quite an insult.
I don't know how he could have done it otherwise. I can't even fault him for that.
Yeah.
Like, that just, it needed to be done.
I wonder if he had to do that for that other long rant, too.
Yeah, maybe. The studio originally wanted to cut the scene where the cat gets electrocuted. They were worried about potential complaints of animal cruelty, but after test audiences listed it as the funniest scene in the movie, the filmmakers convinced them to keep it in.
Okay, does nobody care that he also said that he was gonna trap that squirrel in a coat and smash it with a hammer? Nobody cares about squirrels, just cats.
Speaking of the squirrel, that's the last one I have. The production originally had a trained squirrel for the scene where it wreaks havoc on the house. Unfortunately, it died the day before the scene was shot, and an untrained squirrel was used in the final film.
Aww, rest in peace, little squirrel.
And that's all I have.
Alright, get ready for some quotes. So, we put out on social media today, what was your favorite moment from Christmas vacation? Or what is your Christmas traditions? And we said that we were recording this today. And Belinda said she couldn't wait for us to record it. Or I guess to hear it. Skeptical Skeptics podcast said a gif where Todd says, "Hey Griswold, where do you think you're going to put that tree?" And he says, "Bend over and I'll show you." Spooky Media Bros said, "This is one of them that never fails to make me laugh my ass off." And I already had my intro written before they posted this.
Yes. We just want to clear up Spooky Media Bros is Super Media Bros, but it's October.
Yeah.
So we're just used to calling them Spooky Media Bros because we like the whole overhaul.
I was just reading this and not even thinking about that. Yeah, Super Media Bros. Anyway, they sent a gift that says, "Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, kiss his ass, kiss your ass, kiss my ass, Happy Hanukkah." I think I got that out of order, but I tried my best.
You did good, kid.
A podcast about something said, "There's no gift for it, but the scene where Clark brings his boss a present and he's on the phone is awesome." Breakdown from the Couch says, a gif of Eddie in his bathrobe pumping the sewage saying, "Shitter's full." Carnage says, "Can't pick one, but as a tradition, we always eat dinner, then drive around with our kids to see Christmas lights. Once home, we open pajamas and then sit around listening to someone in the family read the birth of Christ story in the Bible."
That's a good tradition. I like that.
It is. We do pajamas from the Elf. Matching pajamas. Black Case Diaries podcast says, when Clark looks next to him and Cousin Eddie is just there and he's staying for Christmas, and Clark, the gift says, "If I woke up tomorrow with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be more surprised than I am right now." That's a great quote.
Yes.
And Breakdown from the Couch said, a gif from the Christmas Story that says, "Oh, fudge."
Yeah, that also is one of my Christmas traditions, is like starting Christmas Eve, TBS or TNT. I actually think it's more than one channel, just plays the Christmas Story on a loop, and that's what I play all day, and Mary hates it.
Okay, I have to side with Mary on this one. I hate that movie as well.
I love
I'm
that
really
movie.
glad that we're not doing that.
I think that it's because that movie is like a love-hate type thing
like,
for people. You either like it or you don't.
It's funny, but I guess people probably feel the same way about Christmas Vacation, because I think Christmas Story, it's funny one time, but it's so overdone, and it's just not my jam, I guess.
Hey, I get it, but I could watch it over and over again, and I do.
It's not my jam of the month. Carol Phillips says, "I cannot think about Christmas yet, as I have yet to pick up the kids' Halloween costumes." At Retro Late Fee, Mark probably has some Christmas Vacation moments to share, though. He loves all the vacation movies, which I am currently working on my children's Halloween costumes as well.
Yeah, same. Like, Reed's Halloween costume was supposed to be his Charlie Brown shirt that he wore to his party, but he got paint all over it. So
kinda
Mary's
got
like,
ruined.
what are we gonna do now?
Did you try washing it out?
I never thought of that.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Oh.
No, I think that we're gonna use the Linus shirt instead,
Yeah, that'd
and
be
he'll
cute.
just go as Linus. I'll put the blanket in the wagon and Snoopy in there. They'll know who he is.
Yeah, that's cute. My kids are being Pac-Man ghosts, so I'm making them ponchos.
Yeah. But yes, we get you, Carol. We don't judge you. We're just recording early so that we have time to edit because, you know, the holidays are gonna sneak up on us and we really didn't want to spend too much time away from our families editing.
We're just overachievers.
Yep.
The MacGyver podcast says, "Can I refill your eggnog? Drive you out to the middle of nowhere? Leave you for dead? Nah, I'm good, Clark."
I couldn't think of it off the top of my head, but that was the quote that I loved.
On Facebook, Taylor Ray Paul says, "The dinner scene with Aunt Bethany is the best. Grace? She's been dead for 30 years. LOL, or even better yet, the blessing." You have to say it like that. That's how me and my brother always say it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Christmas movies. Just a couple of quotes that weren't in those that I jotted down that I love. "Looks great, little full, lot of sap."
Yeah.
"I don't know what to say, but it's Christmas and we're all in misery." And then ones that my brother quotes a lot is, he's holding out for a management position.
Oh, yeah.
And me and my brother also say, anytime, it doesn't have to be Christmas, like it can literally be any conversation, we'll say, "Are you serious, Clark?" And then my other favorite one was, "Where do you think you're going? Nobody's leaving. Nobody's walking out on this fun, old-fashioned family Christmas. No. We're all in this together. This is a full-blown 4-alarm holiday emergency here. When Santa squeezes his fat white ass down the chimney tonight, he's gonna find the jolliest bunch of assholes this side of the nut house."
Yeah, it really is one of the most quotable movies.
Yeah, it is.
It's just so good. And speaking of quotable movies, the next Christmas movie that we're going to be talking about is Elf.
Smiling's my favorite.
What I love about Elf is that it is like a modern classic.
Yeah.
It's very hard for new Christmas movies to come out and be dubbed a classic, like people watch it every year.
You know what I really want to see? Is the one with Khaleesi.
Yes, that looks really good.
It does look really good. We should go see it together.
I agree. We should. We'll have to figure it out. But yeah, so we're going to be coming back next time with Elf. I'm excited about it. I love that movie.
I love
feel
it
like that's
too.
another one that sometimes people don't like, but I love it.
Really? People don't like that?
Yes.
That's
yeah.
another one that I've seen a lot of times and I quote it in my day-to-day life. Like, even when it's not Christmas.
You know who doesn't like that movie?
Who?
Intern Mark.
What?
Yeah, he does not like that movie.
Why?
I will have to ask him.
That's funny. I like to say that the yellow ones don't stop, especially at work with the HEVs.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see you back here next time. Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoyed.
Bye.
Bye.